to see big occasions. For more, here's Katie with him.
There is no better place for this matchup than right here in Kenan Stadium, guys. The home of the North Carolina Tar Heels is renowned as one of America's most picturesque venues. It's built right into campus, surrounded by the Carolina Pines. Honestly, there is no better venue that gives you the same atmosphere, scenery, or charm. And as Cal mentioned, it's seen its fair share of big shows, legendary performances from Bruce Springsteen, the Beach Boys, U2. In fact, even last year's international friendly between Chelsea and Wrexham was right here. They welcomed over 50,000 fans. That's what we're expecting tonight. And with a fresh Bermuda grass on the pitch, the stage is set for another big show.
Thank you, Katie. And so, a meeting of the minds here. A clash of two European giants. No doubt the Manchester City side has a handful of young players. The back line sees a litany of youth players given an opportunity, which Pep Guardiola will keep an eye on, no doubt about it. But for Celtic, this game 4 of their pre-season, with their regular season set to kick off in just 10 days' time against Kilmarnock. A circling of the calendar type of day for both sets of fans, and after months of waiting and anticipation, away we go as the FC Series Tour gets underway with two former European champions, two current continental giants going toe-to-toe and offering us today, Jamie, a glimpse of perhaps what we might see moving forward.
Brendan Rodgers didn't mince words. He thought his team's 4-0 win against DC United came down to their defensive intensity. And when his team is able to press and they're able to be on the front foot, causing the opponent to play a little bit quicker, that's when he feels Celtic are at their best.
Manchester City, of course, winning the English Premier League once again. In the Premier League 6 times in the last 8 seasons under the stewardship of Pep Guardiola. And it seems as though they're once again more comfortable than they perhaps should be with playing out of the back and dancing with danger as Celtic look to sniff in the early stages. Easily dealt with in the end, but Celtic continue to press, and the referee Ted Uncle blowing the whistle and perhaps saving Manchester City in the early stages here, Jamie.
As City look to play out of the back, it's all well and good until it's one pass too many, and Wilson Esperan had to do ever so well to make sure to just step in front of Kuhn, use his body really well to be able to absorb the contact and win the foul.
Manchester City very happy to dice with danger, and this time the referee blows the whistle in their favour. Finishing on 91 points last season, 2 points ahead of Arsenal, of course, and 9 clear of Liverpool. Kenan Stadium, a worthy venue that we have for us here today, under the watchful eye of the Moorhead Patterson Bell, a place that you're more than familiar with, Jamie Watson, having played a portion of your collegiate career here.
One of the best venues, as Katie alluded to, at the University of North Carolina. It's special. It's one of the most iconic brands in all of the United States in collegiate athletics. So it's fitting to have 2 champions meet here, getting ready to start off their respective campaigns to try to make sure to continue the dynasty in their respective leagues. Celtic, 3 consecutive Scottish Premiership titles, and Manchester City, it's well documented, 4 Premier League trophies in a row. Almost unheard of in modern day football, but these 2 teams continue to just push the limits of consistency in professional sports, the hardest thing to achieve.
Celtic have won the Scottish Premiership in 12 of the last 13 seasons. I dare not mention who won the other title. As Grealish manoeuvres away, the former Aston Villa man, and it's a very big season for the England international that missed out on the Euro 2024 championships as he manoeuvres away from the ball here, and Manchester City get themselves into 3rd gear. Here's Jack Grealish towards the Caspic goals, the effort towards a goal is thrust wide. First real signs of life in front of goal from Nico O'Reilly and Manchester City.
This is what Stuart Robson and Shaka Hislop were talking about in the pregame. Wanting to see more movement from Jack Grealish. Initially, he drops all the way back to just in front of the center backs, but it's the continued movement that pushes him on. And it's that last-second effort as Nico O'Reilly sells the initial shot. Not as inches wide.
Manchester City now going short and changing the angle for Calvin Phillips. through in the early stages of the game here. With an enticing ball across goal, which in the end has just a little too much behind it. Guardiola did say the players are fresh after their breaks. They've looked really good so far in training. This tour is going to be a real test. We'll play some good opponents in preparation of their title defence. To take a look at some of the younger players on this tour and build their experience. How capable are they, was the question that he's asked them over the course of the last couple of days. Highlighted James McAtee and wanted to keep him at Manchester City this year to play. And he does that today and operates in the number 10 role today, Jamie.
It's a massive opportunity. We got a chance to ask Pep Guardiola who are some of the players that are looking to impress with a squad that's not at its full capacity, with players coming back and getting their due rest from the European Championship. So asked him, he was very pointed. James McAtee, he wanted to see him come back and do well, and after 2 years on loan, he got the opportunity to play no less than 67 games for Sheffield United. This is a real opportunity. Can he reach out, can he grab it with both hands and take that chance today?
Since 2008, he's won 36 trophies, Pep Guardiola. 17 of those have been with Manchester City. Imperious. Tussle in the centre of midfield. Celtic now manoeuvring the ball forward with Scales. Here's Taylor. They're involved in the European Championships with Scotland, and this is now Maeda manoeuvring forward. The Japanese international, enticing ball across goal, wide of the intended target from Kyogo Furuhashi.
Maeda picks this up and has no doubt about what he wants to do. So it's confident, and at the moment, Rico Lewis is just waiting to see where Maeda is going to go. It's that little drop of the shoulder to create half the space, and Kyogo, because he runs beyond the near post, he's unable to guide that on target and really challenge Ortega. Needs to hold that run up just a step or two inside of the post.
There's Brendan Rodgers, the two-time SPL winner in his first spell as Celtic manager. Of course, was an FA Cup winner with Leicester City back in 2021, ex-Swansea City, Watford and Liverpool manager. He said to us earlier this week he's been really pleased with the performances over the course of the last few weeks, especially against DC United several days ago. They pressed so well, delighted with the defensive intensity and the quickness of the attack.
Early on through the first 6.5 minutes or so, he'll be well pleased with the pace at which his side Celtic are pushing this match. Manchester City are doing their best to play out of it, but they're having to play a touch quicker than they would prefer to. So long Celtic can manage to do that. They are just a little bit further along in the preseason than Manchester City are, so fitness will certainly be in favor of the Scottish side.
Celtic, of course, as you mentioned, already beating DC United by 4 goals to 0, as Kay mentioned in the studio. They won 6-4 against Queen's Park, and now they have some defending to do up against Jack Grealish. It's rather rash challenge on the near side. Referee sees nothing wrong with it. And Grealish with a slap of the wrist, showing an element of frustration in the early stages.
Exactly what you would hope for from the 24-year-old Stephen Welsh. Just waiting for that moment. Comes across strong, puts himself right into the mix with Grealish in a crunching tackle early on. For a center back going against the likes of Grealish, Haaland, to be able to have that sort of an impact early on in a 1v1 setting, did wonders for the confidence of Welsh.
Scales. Here's McGregor. Celtic look for another way through. Scoring not an issue for them over the years. Skew from Manchester City at the back. Furuhashi unable to find a way through this time. Actually, Manchester City calm and composed under pressure. There's O'Reilly into Haaland. Grealish. Manchester City find something here. Only turning away from several. The referee does eventually blow the whistle in favour of Manchester City.
Erling Haaland finally getting some involvement helping start the build-up to this. And then Grealish, we asked what the response was going to be from Jack Grealish coming off of his omission from the European Championship side. And early on through the first 8.5 minutes, he looks real lively and involved, a willingness to go and find the ball. The mentality is going to be so important for a player who's experienced some really high highs, and as was alluded to in a pregame show, certainly by Shaka Hislop, just sort of the disappointment that he found over the course of the 2023-2024 season.
Phillips find a way through a forest of Celtic jerseys, and Hashi now into the left-hand side.
I missed the option on the near side to Kuhn. He went the wrong way, and that killed the entire attack. Just needed to pick his head up and see Kuhn marauding forward on this near side.
Scales. McGregor. Tarte able to wriggle away from the nearest challenger, and Phillips, and here comes Celtic down the left-hand side. Maeda with a litany of support awaiting the service. Taylor. Celtic opt for patience. Taylor. Celtic find a way through this time. It's a little piece of defending and a goal kick. Now then, talking of Manchester City, you're hearing a lot from what's going on the bench, I understand, Katie Witham.
A lot of individual coaching down here from Pep Guardiola in different moments of this first half early on. Shortly ago, he caught his goalkeeper's attention, Stefan Ortega, telling him, I want to see a little more quick switches from you, dumping the ball specifically over top, wide on this near side, seeing some space and matchups that he prefers.
Thank you. Manchester City, let's forget this, just their first game of the pre-season. They do have intriguing tests against AC Milan, Barcelona and Chelsea on the horizon, part of the FC Series tour. Here's Ortega, the German goalkeeper. Phillips.
Pretty tactically, Wilson Elsbrand is already tucking over, listed as a left back, but he's finding himself in the vertical lanes where he pinches in. Tactically, these are one of the things that separate Pep Guardiola. Put a ball over the top.
Can Manchester City find a way through? For the one for trying. Kasper Schmeichel able to gather.
I think the legs get tangled up, and I'm okay with that decision to not blow the whistle. I don't think there was a touch, but I think Nico O'Reilly also clattered in as well. Great look at it, though, to see just how close that opportunity was for O'Reilly. And it's, at times, one of the X factors that the 19-year-old academy product has is his understanding of when you lull your opponent into a sleep with some possession, and then it's that darting run that Celtic backline has to react to. And if they're even a half-second late, that's where O'Reilly can get him behind.
As we said earlier on, Pep Guardiola looking to make the most of the opportunities to play some of the young players. James McAtee, the 21-year-old from Salford, just 5 miles west of the Etihad Stadium. Spent the last 2 seasons on loan at Sheffield United. 9 goals during their promotion season to the English Premier League, was consequently relegated with them, but Jamie Watson, that experience that the 21-year-old will have garnered is invaluable.
It is, and his positioning today, James McAtee playing in the number 10 role, I think right now there is a need for City in that position.
Can they defend this foray forward here for Celtic? Fabulous finish! Inside 13 minutes, Celtic snatch the lead through Nicholas Kuhn, the German.
This is Celtic at their best. The up back and through, the check to the shoulder from O'Reilly, and it's within the secondary touch. Now Kuhn is going to run right across the face of Wilson Elsbrand, and as soon as that happens, that's when Wilson Elsbrand has to slow up, and then Kuhn can take that extra touch, that extra half second to slow himself down, compose himself, far post. Nothing Ortega can do about it from this position. That is composure at its finest. Wonderfully well-crafted team goal. And it all starts with that passing to break open Manchester City in the middle of the park.
Unsurprisingly, Celtic looking a little sharper, a little more composed, having played 3 more pre-season games than Manchester City have heading into this game. 12 days' time, Celtic face off against Kilmarnock in the Scottish Premiership to start their season. Don't have a intriguing test against Chelsea at the stadium in Notre Dame in several days' time. Will be their final tune-up. So far, so good here from a Celtic point of view. Lewis. So you go back to a relatively young backline that has been tested on a number of occasions inside the opening 15 minutes. Lewis 19, Luke Mbete 20, Joao Simpson-Poussy 18, George Wilson Espran 21. A young backline for Manchester City that will undoubtedly face further tasks moving forward. Dropping in to help.
Phillips getting a little something for Oscar Bob to bring down. Just fired it at his chest, and with Calvin Phillips dropping in between, that gives him the extra number and maybe the bit of the unbalance to bring in Wilson Espran on one side and Rico Lewis. But right now, the only possession they're getting is around the back 4 until they get pressed by Celtic and then ultimately just give the ball away.
Mbete. Simpson-Poussy, the 18-year-old academy product. There's O'Reilly. I believe it's the best opening for Manchester City in the opening stages. 16 minutes have passed here, Jamie Watson, at Keenan Stadium. What's the observation thus far?
For City, the only possession they're having is about the area in which Ortega sits on the ball. We've said Erling Haaland's name one time after the introduction and after talking about him so much in the pre-match build-up. Now there's just a big gap between the possessions being kept with the back 3, back 4, the goalkeeper for City, the midfield, and the front 3. It looks disjointed, looks disconnected from City, and as you'd expect in the first game of the preseason, but untypical for City of the standard they hold.
Challenge that was necessary came in from Lewis. Here's McAtee now, looking through a forest of Celtic jerseys and winning a free kick. In between these two was all the way back in 2009 in the World Football Tour. Manchester City victorious by 2-1 on that occasion. Chris Killen, the early New Zealand centre-forward, with the goal for Celtic on that particular day. Gareth Barry and Craig Bellamy with the goals for Manchester City all the way back in 2009. As Kay alluded to in the pre-game show as well, 2 draws in the UEFA Champions League in 2016, the only competitive tests between these two. On offer today, and what can Manchester City conjure now after falling behind early to a Niklas Kuhn goal? Scales. Kasper Schmeichel on his Celtic debut. He's spent the last 2 seasons in France and Belgium respectively. He may have some work to do here. The combination and challenge made in the centre of midfield though, as Maeda latches onto the ball, and here comes Celtic looking for goal number 2. Maeda across goal. Challenge that was necessary came, and behind for a corner.
That switch to isolate Maeda 1v1 against Rico Lewis has been the first ball, the first outlet that Celtic have looked for when they get those transitional moments. Now they get the opportunity via a set piece. It is 2-on-1 if they want to go quick, and they do.
Towards the cusp they go. Having to retreat momentarily to McGregor. Skew on the far side leads. And the ball is kept in. As though the majority of the players felt as though the ball had gone out of play. Not the case. Corner.
Kuhn was the only one that continued on. Their assistant referee on the far side. Marcus Moss, his flag didn't go up. Ted Uncle, a referee, didn't whistle. So Kuhn was the only one that was thinking and being alert to continue on.
High hanging ball played in and nudged away to safety for the time being. McGregor. 21 years of age now, Callum McGregor. Started all 3 games for Scotland in the European Championships as Celtic look to find a way through. Kobayashi towards goal. Easily gathered by Stefan Ortega.
Kobayashi played the wrong foot as the entry pass was looking to be slid in. He had Tate to be able to try to slip him in behind, but instead he played it to the back foot. He wasn't able to take it on the half turn into the 18.
To retreat into the path of Kasper Schmeichel, of course, started his professional career with Manchester City. His father, Peter Schmeichel, had a season at the club as well after a spell with Aston Villa and most famously Manchester United for many a year. First won the Premier League with Leicester City, did Kasper Schmeichel all those years ago. An astute piece of business for Celtic and Brendan Rodgers.
With the retirement of Joe Hart, they had a big hole to fill with that going. Iljami Sinisalo started against DC United. He was the first goalkeeper brought in, and then were able to acquire the services of Kasper Schmeichel. And then we see Schmeichel, he looked reinvigorated yesterday in his press conference, talking about how excited he was to join in for his first training session yesterday.
Maybe he'll be tested here as City look to find a way through. Behind for a corner. McAtee at the heart of it again.
Much better movement from McAtee. Number 10, well, just understanding the moments when to go. City loves to come and play short, but who's the one running behind it? It hasn't been Haaland yet. McAtee takes the responsibility on his shoulders.
Skabob played into the back post, nudged high into the North Carolina sky. Eventually the referee sees enough to blow the whistle in favour of Celtic.
Bete does everything he can with the first initial effort to just try to keep it alive. No malice, but it's dreadfully painful for Ralston.
Bete, an academy product, loan spells at Bolton Wanderers and Huddersfield Town in the English Football League in recent years, and Manchester City now break forward. It's Haaland! First real save for Schmeichel as the follow-up is skied over the bar and behind. First glimpse of Manchester City from an attacking point of view.
That is City at their best. That's what you expect when you pay your admission and you turn on the TV to watch Manchester City play. It's taken them all of 22 minutes to finally have a good attacking sequence. That's why you bring in Kasper Schmeichel to understand all that wealth of experience, when to come out and when to make that save.
From one goalkeeper to another. Here's Ortega. Able to kick the ball out of the nets when Niklas Kuhn test him earlier.
McAtee's wanting to push the pace, and he was upset with Nico Riley for choosing the backwards option. I like seeing that from McAtee. I want to see McAtee be a bit more vocal and have a demonstrative nature about himself to be able to try to push the pace. This is too slow for City. They're hopeful that they're going to draw Celtic out, but you can see how disciplined Celtic are. In their midfield 3, Celtic are doing a better job of winning the center of the park right now, and now that's why Haaland is dropping back 20 yards the wrong side of his own half.
There's Grealish. There's 3 goals and 1 assist in 20 Premier League appearances on season for the former Aston Villa man. There's O'Reilly, academy product from the heart of Manchester. Manchester City unable to find a way through once again as Oscar Bob chases the lost cause.
Bob has to be stronger to retain possession. So look at that passage of play. You're going to see the up, back, and through nature. Now it's Haaland, and it's the understanding, the timeliness to be able to slip it through. Because that's going away, and because it's on the less preferred right foot for Haaland, he's got to take that step beyond to try to cut it back. And Schmeichel stays as big as he can for as long as he can. And that wide wingspan of his, he's just being hopeful and making himself as big as he can, and it's exactly what he needed to do. He was probably just about as surprised as anybody else that his right hand was able to make the save.
It's a terrific save at that, isn't it? On second viewing. There's Ralston. And so we're hearing that there's plenty of instruction from Brendan Rodgers, and from a Celtic point of view, Katie Witham, what are you hearing?
Well, the gaffer told us coming into this one, this was such a huge opportunity for his side to play Man City this early in their season, and he is focused and locked in on this sideline, specifically paying attention to his defensive organization, tweaking little things, giving little pointers out, and then when they do get it down the pitch, he's very focused on improving their decision-making in the final third.
Did say to us yesterday, Brendan Rodgers, that he's got his group now to the point of the pre-season where it's all about quality over quantity. There's been several boxes ticked, and they find another moment of quality here as Phillips fires high into the sky. Glorious evening in North Carolina. After 25 minutes, it's the champions of Scotland who lead the conquerors of England by 1-0, and perhaps they have a chance for number 2 here. Field goal, Furuhashi across goal. Manchester City and Rico Lewis calm under pressure. And a free kick now for Pep Guardiola's side.
Tons of composure from the 19-year-old Rico Lewis. Guardiola will love to see his right back just having the confidence to be able to not only bring down that touch in the midst of an opportunity without understanding what's fully around you in that moment, then to keep possession, to break pressure, ultimately consider able to retain possession. They just need to be doing this 15 yards higher up the field. It's a little too deep right now from City.
O'Reilly. As Manchester City look for an equalising goal. Celtic organised, in tune, on hand. Here's McGregor. 11 Scottish Premier League Championships as Celtic manoeuvre forward again. Maeda with the angle against him. Lewis able to tow the ball away at the vital moments. Oscar Bob lending a defensive helping hand as well as Phillips picks up the scraps. Grealish. Ball over to the far side. There's Oscar Bob, the Norwegian international.
Look how much more dangerous City are now that they're 10, 15 yards higher up the field than where they've been for the majority of the first half in their possession. And at each and every moment, there's a constant threat from a deep-lying run. Haaland's got some space as Welsh has just stepped. There was time to go do it, but I just wonder if the fitness right now is lacking for those extra runs in behind and the willingness to have those runs.
Should point out as well, it's very hot here in North Carolina as well. Here's Grealish on the edge of the penalty area. Grealish tried to slip it through. And Celtic able to divert the danger. Grealish unable to find a way through.
One of the most interesting battles all night long has been Maeda versus Rico Lewis, and to this point, Maeda has been getting the better of Lewis. At that time, 19-year-old keeps his feet really well, and the England product just makes sure that he doesn't overcommit, He's starting to learn the tendencies of Maeda, and that'll cause for a bit more competitive 1v1 duels and understanding the tendencies of Maeda.
Here's Rico Lewis on the ball again from Bury, just 11 miles north of the Etihad Stadium. Made his England senior debut in November last year. Here he is on the ball again. He's 19 years of age, into the path of Oscar Bob. Phillips.
Again, even further in this passage of play from City, being able to push forward. This is where we want to see Jack Grealish be more creative.
Up of the shoulder. Grealish, the effort towards goal is easily gathered by Kasper Schmeichel.
This is patient. This is better from Grealish. Surveying his options. He's wanting to set this up to get the effort towards goal, but it closes down, and when he draws over the third defender, that's when he's able to play that clever little slip ball in to McAtew. Just can't get his feet sorted. Half-hearted shouts for a penalty that fall on deaf ears of Ted Uncle.
Raga.
It'll be a constant theme tonight for Jack Grealish. How dynamic can he be? Can he cause problems going 1v1? Now he's got the opportunity with the break. It's a 3-on-3 if Haaland can push fast enough.
Melvin, here comes Manchester City. Here comes Erling Haaland! Another sensational stop from Kasper Schmeichel. And Manchester City test him again. The effort towards goal is straight down the throat of the Great Dane. What a debut he's having for his new football club.
Already a legendary name, but he's proven himself a worthy replacement of Joe Hart. So far, Schmeichel is doing everything he can to make the saves he needs to, and then the saves that he's not expected to. This time, Haaland gets clever, and he tries to dink it up and over Schmeichel, but he stays big so long that he's able to read the flight and the change of speed in which Haaland put that effort towards goal. Haaland tried to outsmart Schmeichel. Schmeichel shows all of his experience to make that crucial save.
Well, then here's O'Reilly and Oscar Bob. Manchester City interrogating. McAtee. Over the head of Ralston. Manchester City have to go the other way. Grealish. To a chorus of boos from one or two of the Celtic contingency. This is Bob. Up against Taylor. Oscar Bob craving half a yard, which he does get. Fabulous challenge on the far side, and Maeda on defensive duties for Celtic, able to prevail.
It's just too slow from Oscar Bob. He had a 1v1, he invited a secondary defender, and ultimately that's where the opportunity goes begging. Same questions we're asking about Jack Grealish. Oscar Bob has just as much of a stake in this to try to prove that he can be dynamic in those wide areas without the likes of Doku in the side or Phil Foden. But if Oscar Bob wants to play at a walking pace, Celtic won't mind that, and Pep Guardiola won't want to put that in the starting 11 week after week.
Schmeichel taking no chances. Some can be said about Stephen Welsh.
City are starting to win the ball higher and higher up the field. It's leaving them more sustained attacks.
Here they come again. Haaland and Oscar Bob. It's another save from Kasper Schmeichel, who is oh so unfortunate. Manchester City find a way. Breakthrough in the same shade of blue at the University of North Carolina. And finally, Kasper Schmeichel is beaten.
The sustained pressure from Manchester City is the reason they win it higher up the field. And Haaland understands the pressure that he's feeling and knows that Oscar Bob is beyond him. So now Bob takes that extra second, leans himself forward. It's not a particularly great strike, but because it's so close to the body of Schmeichel, he actually extends beyond it. And with his attempt to come back in, it's so unfortunate for the debutant for Celtic. Schmeichel feels as though he should be able to save that. In the form he's been in the first 30 minutes, he'd expect himself to save it. But nonetheless, Oscar Bob does just enough, and fortune favors the men in light blue.
Fortune favours the bold. Fortune favours the bob on that occasion. Pep Guardiola will be a much happier manager.
And he will be, because over the course of the last 15 minutes, his side have played much higher up the field. They've been winning it back higher up the field, and that's led to these opportunities. The first 15 minutes of this match, they were pinned in, and quite frankly, weren't up for the pace of the match, but they've started to settle down and acclimate themselves, and now they're finally being able to pin Celtic back, excuse me. It's been the first time that we've seen that happen for a sustained period of time.
Welsh happy to retreat into the path of Kasper Schmeichel. Here's Ralston. Schmeichel back on British shores after a spell with Nice and Anderlecht respectively over the last 2 years. Still plenty to offer at the age of 37.
One thing from City, Calvin Phillips has taken a higher position, and that's allowing McAtee to go a bit higher. Nico Riley's been able to go a little bit higher. Now's when you need to see the possession from Celtic through their center backs and allowing the outside backs to get higher. That way you can get the likes of Kuhn and Maeda a little bit higher up the field. We haven't said Matt O'Reilly's name nearly enough for Celtic inside these first 35 minutes. He needs to be able to get on the ball as well, like he did on the half turn for the goal.
Well, he finds something here. Ortega came a very, very long way. He's confidently able to rid the danger.
No real surprise. As soon as Matt O'Reilly can get on the ball, the 2023-2024 player of the year for the club, 19 goals. He's also able to provide a plethora of assists as well. 18 of them in all competitions.
Perhaps Celtic can find another way through here. The effort towards goal from Kuhn again! Well, in the midst of pre-season, Celtic look as sharp as ever in front of goal and slice through the champions of England for the second time.
Just like the first goal, as soon as Celtic are able to get on the ball in the half turn in the middle of the park, that's where they've been able to slice open City. Wilson Esperan takes too fast of an approach to try to close down Kuhn. And Kuhn is always waiting to chop him back. He just gets the 21-year-old to bite. And then he composes himself, eyes it up. Ortega's at the mercy of Nicholas Kuhn, who is ruthless for the second time tonight. That's a fantastic response from Celtic to regain the lead.
Nicholas Kuhn, the former Bayern, Rasenball Leipzig and Ajax man, joined last season from Rapid Vienna for a reported $4 million. 2 goals and 2 assists in just 14 Scottish Premiership appearances. Safe to say, if he continues on this trajectory, Brendan Rodgers may give him many more opportunities in the forthcoming season, which gets underway in just 12 days' time for Celtic, hosting Kilmarnock in the Scottish Premiership. So what now then, Jamie Watson, as we enter the dying embers of the first half?
I think you see when Celtic are ready to push the pace, and collectively the group says, let's go, they push forward, that's when they're at their best.
Maeda latching on to a pass. Is there a third here for Celtic?
Riley's at the top of the box unmarked. Just a good recovery from City to close down any option. It's no surprise when Celtic play at a faster pace and they push the tempo. City right now is struggling in those transitional moments. They're a bit unbalanced, a bit of a disjointed side. Right now they are really struggling with those line-splitting passes that Celtic are playing. Both goals have come from.
There's Welsh into the deep line, Callum McGregor. Scales, the Republic of Ireland international. Celtic looking for another one here. Into Nicholas Kuhn again. Kuhn twisting, turning. The effort towards goal. Goes wide of the left-hand post, much to the relief of Stefan Ortega.
Nicholas Kuhn is full of confidence, as he should be on 2 goals. He's got Wilson Esperan just waiting and reactionary, and that's the worst thing for a defender to do. So as he cuts it back, Hatate is unable to get ahead of the pace of it, unable to stab his foot and put some curl onto it. You have the defender there that he could have tried to use as a bit of a shield. He just wasn't able to guide it on target.
Rio Hatate did score 3 times in the Scottish Premiership last season. Joined Celtic in 2021 after 3 titles in 4 years in the Japanese J-League. It's a market that was invaded by Ange Postecoglou when he was in charge of Celtic, the Australian, more than familiar with the market in Asia. And Celtic and now Brendan Rodgers reaping the rewards. Here's Oscar Bobb, goal scorer for Manchester City. Ortega, ex-1860 Munich goalkeeper, joined in the 22-23 season from Arminia Bielefeld. 20 minutes for Manchester City during the Premier League campaign, played in some big games as well. He's played in the FA Cup final defeat to Manchester United 59 days ago, and now Manchester City changed gears, albeit momentarily. There's Taylor. He's to find Kasper Schmeichel. Ralston. Welsh. A first team fixture for Celtic. So rescue from Schmeichel. Welsh will tidy up. New product, Stephen Welsh, just 24 years of age. Celtic able to have turned down approaches from the likes of Toulouse and Udinese and across Europe over the course of the last couple of years. Wilson clearing the danger away. Hatate. Maeda. 2 Japan internationals combining. Effort towards goal. Maeda scrambling Ortega.
Both Maeda and Kuhn understand right now that when they go 1v1, there's no need to slow the pace down. It's the exact opposite of what City are doing with Oscar Bobb and Jack Grealish, and it's the difference of why Celtic actually looked the dangerous side in the final third. Both of the wide forwards are just pinning the ears back and saying, let's go for a run. Right now, the 2 outside backs for City, Rico Lewis and Wilson Esperan, are having a very difficult time dealing with the pace and the shiftiness of the 2 outside forwards for Celtic.
Manchester City find something before half-time. Wiggle through on the far side. McAtee brings it forward. And charged down. Ralston.
You're really starting to see where the loss of key figures for City, not being in the squad and on the tour here in the United States, at least not for now, but Kovacic is one that instantly you start to think of. And De Bruyne, the players that really dictate the center of the park for this side, and Vardiol making those runs forward. Missing real key components to this opportunity that's there for several players. Just not sure many from City are taking it right now. McAtee finally on the ball after a 10-minute spell of being quite invisible. So just need more right now in the middle of the park from City.
Perhaps they can offer more through this set piece. Goal scoring not an issue for Manchester City over the years. 96 goals scored last season, the top scorers in the English Premier League. The top goal scorers across Europe. Here's Haaland. Just unable to get the half a yard he needed.
That recovery from Ralston does just enough to be able to put a body on Haaland. not commit a penalty, but not allow Haaland to be able on that favored left foot, and the Norwegian, just wants to put his foot through it after 2 clever attempts to try to clip it up and over. Schmeichel wants to just get on his left foot and put his foot through it. Oh, what a ball.
Angled ball forward. It's Furuhashi. It's 3. The boys are bouncing in North Carolina. Furuhashi with Celtic's 3rd.
He starts 10 yards in his own half, does Furuhashi, and then he just takes off, and it's Kuhn with a world-class ball on the outside of his left foot, gets the pacing just right. There's still so much to do for Furuhashi, but he's just patient. It's that extra touch, that extra roll when Ortega reaches to just bait the goalkeeper in, let him go to ground, and then put the pace on it to apply the finish. That is as good of a goal as you will get. Kyogo starts it all with his movement into his own half and the willingness to run beyond in the 44th minute. World-class service from Kuhn. It's 3-1 to Celtic.
Kyogo Furuhashi has been in riveting form over the course of the last couple of years. 73 goals in all competitions in the last 3 seasons for the Japanese international. Formerly of Vissel Kobe, where he played a minute or 2 with Andres Iniesta. Celtic are the recipients of his determination. 1 added minute.
1 minute of added time.
Half-time interval. Here's McGregor.
This ability to keep the possession under pressure, Celtic will be just as pleasing as the 3 goals for Brendan Rodgers. Of course, as you say that, they give it away, but throughout the course of the first half, Celtic have done a fantastic job just absorbing the pressure, but playing their way through it and maintaining possession.
Phillips under pressure. Able to clear the ball into touch. And with that goes the half-time whistle. What has been a thoroughly convincing opening 45 minutes for Celtic. Nicholas Kuhn playing the role of senior pest for the champions of Scotland here today with 2 goals. Oscar Bob offered a response for Manchester City. For Kyogo Furuhashi eventually finding a way through. And Celtic operating in the realm of comfort in the pre-season as the FC Series Tour gets underway. Celtic leading by 3-1 as we send it back to the studio. Yes, thank you very much indeed as we welcome you back to the Keenan Memorial Stadium, where at the break Celtic lead Manchester City by 3-1. It is advantage champions of Scotland against the champions of England. Erling Haaland, it seems Jamie Watson is going to play at least a portion of the second half, which may be a surprise to many.
With Haaland wearing the armband today, you're seeing a bit of a more leadership role from him. Yeah, we're not seeing him be impactful enough in the build-up. He has had 2 wonderful opportunities in which Kasper Schmeichel has come up with world-class saves on both, but they're just glimpses, right? You need a bit more involvement from Erling Haaland throughout the course of the build-up for him to maybe get about another 15 minutes or so of a run out, get to that hour mark before he ultimately will depart, I imagine. And you look at Celtic, what they were able to accomplish in the first half. Celtic, when they pressed, it caused all sorts of problems for City. City defensively struggled to keep up, and I just wonder if they continue to press that on with the fitness that they have, if that can continue to cause problems for City, and that's their way to go and find the next goal in this match.
Well, unsurprisingly, given the timing of year, substitutions are being made. 3 of them for Celtic, to be exact. Jami Sinisalo, the new goalkeeper, replacing the other new goalkeeper, Kasper Schmeichel. Sinisalo joining from Aston Villa several days ago. Mikey Johnston, also the other player coming in, replacing Daison Maeda, the Japanese international. Club legend James Forrest also entering, replacing Nicholas Kuhn. And here comes Celtic. Manchester City getting themselves onto the field much earlier than Celtic. I do wonder, Jamie Watson, what Brendan Rodgers will have had to say to this group, given they are now much closer to the start of their domestic campaign.
Brendan Rodgers will be thrilled with Celtic's ability to push the tempo of the match. So the message will be much more of the same. Continue on with that pressure, continue on with the receiving of the ball in the midfield on the half turn and looking to get it into those wide areas. That's where Man City have been vulnerable, and Celtic have exploited them on 2 of the goals that were carbon copies of themselves. And that's Celtic's key to success in the second half.
And as you caught a glimpse there, there is at least 1 change for Manchester City at the break. Next, a litany of others as well. Mahamadou Sissoko, one of those changes forthcoming. Simo Peroni, another player entering. You catch a glimpse of the club legend James Forrest. So then, next a litany of half-time changes. What sort of contest will we have in the second half as the FC Series Tour continues here on day 1 from the Keenan Memorial Stadium? Callum Williams alongside former MLS midfielder Jamie Watson, your commentary team. Manchester City, of course, getting their pre-season underway today, at least from a match point of view. Celtic already played 3 games in this pre-season. It's safe to say, unsurprisingly, looking the sharper and more composed of the 2. Goals in the first half, 2 from Nicholas Kuhn. Oscar Bob gave Manchester City a response before Kyogo Furuhashi just before half-time. Gave Celtic a 3-1 lead and breathing space. Here's Oscar Bob. What does he have in store for us in the second half? Twisting and turning and looking for half a yard. Plays the ball in. Goal! Now then, Manchester City find their way through. It's Massimo Peroni off the bench and onto the score sheet in next to no time.
What we didn't see in the first half from Oscar Bob was a dynamic ability to run forward. Instantly out of the halftime interval, he drives at the defenders and it draws the pair over, so the substitute Peroni is wide open, and it's this little look out of the corner of the eye from Oscar Bob when he gets to the end line to just understand to just clip it through, right through the pair. Comes off the ground, so if there's a trailing leg, they can't get to it, and Peroni's touch opens his body. It's a wonderful first touch. It's a guided effort to the back post with enough precision to get beyond Sinisalo. Fantastic response from Pep Guardiola's side.
We'll be very interested to see what sort of a campaign Maximo Perroni has ahead of him. Just 21 years of age, the Argentine was part of the Vélez Sarsfield side that reached the Copa Libertadores semi-finals in 2022. Spent last year on loan in La Liga with Las Palmas. And now, instantly giving Manchester City a pathway back into the game. The question now, Jamie Watson, will be what sort of a reaction do we see from Celtic after conceding early in the second half?
This is interesting from Celtic because everything you talked about over the course of the 15-minute halftime interval with tactics and the 3-1 lead, remember head coach Brendan Rodgers would have said to his side, it becomes undone within 60 seconds. Maybe the principles will stay the same, but momentum-wise, immediately it shifts to Manchester City after that goal. Now you're trying to accomplish everything that the manager talked about. You're only doing it with a 1-goal lead, and the City side with their tails up and now pressing to try to win it much higher up the field.
Here comes Celtic. Shackles shaken in the opening few moments of the second half. Scales purposefully down the left-hand side. Taylor. Behind for the throw. Taylor was on the bench for 3 of the group stage games that Scotland were able to contest in the European Championships this summer. Joined from Kilmarnock in 2019. Here he is again. This time.
Another tactical shift. Halftime interval for City. Jack Grealish, who started out in the wide position, is tucked in more centrally to the number 10 role. It's just given the opportunity for Sissoko to be able to go into the wide area. Grealish started the match out initially. I want to see a bit more combination between Grealish and Haaland. There wasn't enough combining between the two in the first half. There's too big of a gap for two of your most important players going forward.
And they find something here. Soho towards the cusp. Rally involved as well. Here's Haaland, Grealish, and towards goal and saved. Sinisalo on top of things for Celtic, but here come Manchester City again. Soho craving half a yard. We'll find Grealish for support. Good ball played in and nudged away by the head of Taylor this time. Danger diverted, at least for the moment, Jamie.
Right now, Celtic are way too deep defensively. City have them pinned in. This little touch from Haaland is so sweet. Just trying to put it into the path of Grealish. Gives him the option. Grealish is a bit unselfish in that moment, maybe because he couldn't get his body turned around with his preferred right foot, so he's opted to set up Sissoko. Grealish instantly having more involvement from a more central position. A little tactical change at halftime from Pep Guardiola.
Sinisalo and Grealish will have crossed paths at Aston Villa briefly. Forward now by Scales. The direct pass, and here comes Celtic through Johnston. In the angle and space he needed. Henderson able to make the save. And the Brazilian international called upon for the first time here today, Jamie.
Oh, this is good reading of the game from Ederson to understand getting across the face of the near post run. He doesn't push the save out centrally. It's back where he comes from, and he's able to see what's in front of him. It's a controlled save that he's making. That's fantastic goalkeeping in the end.
Back in possession. Bob now trying to put it through for Haaland. Perhaps Grealish can do something. Soho, in his path, with the commanding presence of Anthony Ralston. And what is a gorgeous night here in North Carolina, with 40,000 plus in attendance. Here to see their heroes and the clash of two European juggernauts.
Amongst all the festivities we saw during the halftime interval, we saw a check presentation from UNC Children's Hospital, $70,000, so some of the proceeds from tonight's ticket sales donated to have a lasting impact on both of these two teams. They've been here training the last couple of days and making a real impact in the market. Children's Hospital visits, various Special Olympics features around the city. A wonderful event leading up to tonight's occasion.
So then Manchester City with a goal to get themselves back into the realm of relevance. Celtic leading by 3-2. For more, here's Katie Witham.
Man City definitely came out of the locker room, Cal, with a definite and distinct different vibe down here. And the minute they get on the ball, they're headed to goal. That's by design. Pep Guardiola on this sideline telling his team to play with a sense of urgency and be more aggressive. So when they do get on the ball and get possession, to immediately go at their goal.
Celtic now going at the Manchester City goal. And we find another way through. It's the Manchester City back line now centred around Callum Doyle, an under-21 international who won promotion to the Premier League with Leicester City last season. Unable to squeeze through this time. Furuhashi into the wide areas. Doyle playing it forwards. Soho eager to find a way through amongst a litany of Celtic players. Goes down and earns a free kick. Manchester City with 96 goals scored last season, the top scorers in the English Premier League. In fact, they scored more goals domestically than any other team in the top 5 leagues across Europe. There's Doyle. He's at Coventry City and Sunderland alongside the spell at Leicester City over the last few years. Jamie Watson, as we approach the hour mark, how much patience will be needed moving forward.
Starting to see the substitutes for City warming up with a bit more vigor and pace to the field.
And here is Grealish, twisting, turning, and behind for a corner.
Inside the first 10 minutes of the second half, we've seen more involvement in the final third from Jack Grealish than we did practically in the entire first 45 minutes. That central position suits him well. He's able to drift out wide, leave a bit of pocket of space for Haaland to come into if he wants, or just play off the shoulder in that space between the right center back and the right back, causing a bit of communication issues right now for Celtic.
Grealish, the twinkle-toed menace. As Manchester City went over the ball in. Haaland back across goal from whence it came and nudged away. Soho and Grealish with the ball across. That's the way to safety for the time being. Manchester City look for goal number 3. Bob in towards Haaland! Erling Haaland continues exactly where he City are level.
Manchester City continuing to apply pressure, not allowing Celtic any sort of reprieve. And it's the patience on the ball from Oscar Bob. Haaland wins the physical battle first to establish position, and then the timing of the leap is the difference maker. He's attacking it, the defender scales his backtracking, and then from there Haaland rises above, snaps the header down, back where it came from. Nothing Sinisalo can do about it. And the big man with a big leap and a big-time goal to level City.
So then, Sinisalo is forced to scramble. It is as you were. Of course, Erling Haaland had to have his say today. 38 goals across all competitions last season for the big Norwegian centre-forward, 52 the season prior. He's a goal-scoring machine.
Which, last time there was voting, which will be coming up soon, but second place in the Ballon d'Or to Lionel Messi in the year in which he wins a FIFA World Cup with Argentina. Being any other year, he would have been a worthy winner. But nonetheless, he is that significant of a figure in world football. Having a birthday just 2 days ago at 24 years old, we still haven't seen nearly the best from Erling Haaland. What a tremendous response from Manchester City inside the second half, and they want more.
Here he is again. Trying to manoeuvre through. Haaland! He's starting to purr, Jamie.
Peroni has to do a better favor to his Norwegian teammate. Everybody in the stadium knows it's going to the left foot of Haaland, but Peroni puts too much on it with the pass back. When he sets it, he's just got to kill it, take the pace off the ball for Haaland to be able to do what he wants with the effort. Instead, he's got to chase it going negatively. That's why he can't keep it on target.
This is just what Haaland does.
You'll see the set from Peroni as it gets through. It's too wide, it's too far back, and that's why Haaland is not able to get around it. It's got to be a better service from Peroni.
The other end of the field, the ball comes across goal, and Manchester City are able to gather. Here come Manchester City again. And they find something as they get closer and closer to goal. It's repelled momentarily. So Rico Lewis.
Reached that hour mark. Beg your pardon. You're starting to see now a couple of the warm-up jerseys coming off from Manchester City. You should expect that hour mark on your first preseason match. It's about the timestamp that Pep Guardiola and his physio staff would have earmarked as being a good first introduction back into competitive football. I think Pep Guardiola will be really displeased with the first 45, but the inverse of that, they will be the opposite end of the spectrum, pleased with the first 15 minutes of the second half and the response from his side, not only to get 2 goals, but to really establish the territory and the position of the field with their possession higher up the field.
There's Bob and a drop of the shoulder now for Manchester City. Read by Ralston, but Manchester City remaining in possession. Grealish bringing it forwards. Soho just able to keep the ball in play, and it goes behind for a goal kick. Hearing there is going to be a litany of changes. Firstly for Manchester City and then Celtic, such is the time of year. Celtic looking for goal number 4 in what has been an enthralling hour here in Chapel Hill. Here comes Celtic again. The effort towards goal is well blocked in the end. flashed back across from whence it came, and in the end, no recipients in Celtic colours. So then, time for changes from a Manchester City point of view. Does seem as though to go Katongo, one of those players to come on. And as you can see as well, Jacob Wright is a player that'll be entering the fray here shortly for Manchester City in a double change for Pep Guardiola's side. Two changes at the back for Manchester City. Wilson Esbrand and Simpson Pussy, the two players departing, Jamie Watson.
Thought it was a night in which the back line for City didn't get forward near enough in the attack. Next to nothing going forward in the attacking half, but defensively they really struggled in those wide areas, especially on the near side against Nicholas Kuhn, who had a brace in the first half against the left back and the left centre back.
As you can see, a slew of changes now for Celtic. Brendan Rodgers did say to us he feels as though the majority of the group can go an hour or so, a little further ahead in the pre-season stages than Manchester City are. There's a glimpse there of Luis Palma, the Honduran international. A task for his side to go up against. Bobby Donovan, the other player coming into the fray, we saw from the Celtic point of view. Started against DC United on Saturday in the 4-0 victory at Audi Field. More changes. Bob. Anderson introduced into the Celtic backline as well, another player who Brendan Rodgers spoke highly of to the press over the course of the last couple of days after his performance against DC United of Major League Soccer. Going down to Celtic. Salo. The majority of the campaign last year with Exeter City in the third tier of English football.
As both managers start to make a whole host of changes, we get to that point in the preseason where fitness becomes the main focus. Principles don't change, the players may. The players to come in and continue on, both managers literally to be pleased with what they've seen going forward with 3 goals. Side defensively, they want to be tightened up in this final 25 minutes or so. Some fresh legs on should prove for some more excitement at these 1v1 moments, and players looking to impress the manager as they get their opportunity in a condensed portion.
Young group now going up against the diminutive figure of Erling Haaland as well. Also remaining on the field after an hour.
Oscar Bob as well with the goal and 2 assists to his name. I don't think it's been his best 65 minutes. We've seen him in City Light Blue, but having said that, it's up there with some of his most important goal contributions within a match. To be part of all 3 goals, it's hard to say you're not having a good performance, even if by his standards in 1v1 moments, he hasn't been nearly as dangerous as he typically is.
The way this bumper crowd here has enjoyed it. As the changes continue, and it is after just over an hour mark the end of the night for both Erling Haaland and Jack Grealish. His armband now passed over to Ederson, but changes for Manchester City, and both Hamilton and Knight entering the fray. And the fans deliver a smattering of applause to both superstars and their performances, and they got what they came to see, Jamie, and that was an Erling Haaland goal.
fans got their money's worth with Erling Haaland equalizing for City, and really capped off a 11-minute spell to start off the second half in which City were ruthless in their press, much more typical of themselves. Haaland, even on a night when he's working his way back into fitness, inquired by his standards and involvement, still gets on the score sheet.
Here come Manchester City again. Right, the other player that has entered for Manchester City. Pep Guardiola did say to the press just yesterday he wants to take a good look at a lot of the younger players and see what they have to offer, particularly against a much fitter side in Celtic.
He runs on.
The run was found. And here comes Celtic again! It's the Honduran. Carlo at the goal. And Celtic retake the lead in a wild night in front of goal in North Carolina.
The timing of the run in behind sets this all up for Celtic. It could have been Palma, could have been the other option, but instead Iwata plays it across with the perfect amount of pace. Palma's got on the wrong side. It is lackluster defending, to say the least, from the back four for City. Palma won't mind. The Honduran international applies the finish. Celtic just exposing a big gap in the back line. Too high of a line from City. Disjointed, disconnected, and ultimately they pay the price. And Celtic regain the lead.
Goal number 5, the deflection very nearly fell fortuitously for Celtic, and it does go behind for a corner. Score that gives Celtic the lead.
24-year-old Palma had a fantastic season last year. 36 matches across all competitions, 10 goals, 10 assists. Exactly what you want from young players, really establishing themselves in with the group and being a key component to this attack.
Flashed towards the back post and easily gathered by Ederson in goal. And according to the majority of the Celtic faithful, it is still a major need of theirs, a centre forward we're talking about. Of substitutions made, unsurprisingly, with 20 minutes remaining. Doyle. Over to the far side as Manchester City look to find a way through, and now then the referee has a look at it, and they've got a free kick the other way because the linesman has raised the flag on the near side.
Ben Knight's asking the question about the secondary foul inside the box, but it was the first one that's going to get the whistle. It was a little bit of a tug, and then Anderson gets the wrong side. A handball to start it off, so that's the complaint that Knight will have. And I haven't looked at that replay. There were two different options. Could have been called before Knight was called for the errant arm, which Celtic may have been fortunate having that second look at it.
Doyle. Free kick to Manchester City. And so at this point of the game, Jamie Watson, with 18 minutes remaining, this now an opportunity for Pep Guardiola and Brendan Rodgers to cast an eye on some of the younger players as Wright manoeuvres Manchester City forward. Celtic back in numbers quickly. Doyle. Manchester City combining on the edge of the penalty area. And rather fortuitously from a Celtic point of view, whistle blown in their favour.
Much better from City. It's more congested and it's in a tighter area in the middle of the park, but they're getting the numbers advantage, and that's why City is able to play higher up the field now, and they're able to get these opportunities in and around the top of Celtic's box. They leave themselves vulnerable for these counterattacks and transitional moments.
There is one of those transitional moments. The Celtic look for goal number 5. Manchester City repel. Hamilton down under the challenge.
On another night that maybe a little less friendly, you could have seen a yellow card for stopping a promising attack. Unless this game has been played in good faith. 7 goals, been treated to a real delight if you're a fan or a neutral of both teams.
Still challenge made on the near side. So for those of you joining us late, how on earth have you been? This has been a thrilling game here in North Carolina. Goals from Nicholas Kuhn, Togo Furuhashi, and eventually from Luis Palma as well to complete the Celtic goal scorers thus far. Bob and Haaland involved in the goals for Manchester City. The first day of their pre-season. Massimo Peroni offering a goal as well. Away as Celtic look for goal number 5 with 15 minutes remaining. Lovely build-up play. Ross and ball across. Well gathered in the end by Ederson.
Right off the back of you talking about the first match and some of the first training sessions for City all season, they look as though they've been on the training once or twice.
So yellow card brandished. Kwon, the first player to receive a yellow card here today.
That is silk from Oscar Bob. When Oscar Bob goes 1v1 and he doesn't hesitate and he's decisive in his movement, that's when he is at his best. He's already provided 2 helpers on the evening, got on the score sheet himself in a bit of a fortunate manner. Nonetheless, he can find ways to be impactful, and that time he draws a booking for Kwon, the substitute for Celtic. That's a good turn from Oscar Bob.
Here's Bob. Manchester City look for an equalising goal. Save that was needed was made by Viljami Sinisalo.
Bob receives this on the half turn. He decides to take this space. There's an overcorrection defensively from the left back Anderson. So that leaves Knight in a 1v1 situation. But understanding your opponent is so key, and understanding Knight wants to favor the left foot and come inside from the right-handed position. Anderson is just trying to force him lane to go towards the end line. Knight just obliges with a little bit too much room to have the effort, but Sinisalo sees it all the way. It makes a comfortable save.
Manchester City have a 4th up their sleeve. Knight's combining. Scouted pass over to the far side. Soho. Knight. Real opening here for Manchester City. And quickly, calmly, find a way through, and it's pushed to one side for the time being.
Bob makes the wrong decision. Peroni draws everybody out. He's the receiver. As Bob receives the pass, he takes a touch. He just needs to use the first touch to put it to the path of his teammate. That is the wrong decision. At the wrong time from Oscar Bob.
Whipped in full of vigour and panache, but ultimately picked up on the near side here. There's Ederson. Started all 4 of the Copa America games in what was an extraordinarily disappointing Copa America campaign for Brazil. It's a dice with danger, Manchester City. They may have just diced a little too much. Celtic, and had it not have been for the intervention at the last moment from Sissoko.
This is a tremendous bit of skill from home. He knows that the window is closing, so he's trying to get it back to Anderson, but Sissoko understands how can he come back and affect the play. As it turns over, if he has a half-second delay, this could have been 5. Tremendous work from Sissoko, though, to stifle that attack. Pep Guardiola, he would have appreciated that just as much as any other bit of skill in the attacking final third from his playing days, to understand in that moment from the 19-year-old Spaniard, just the willingness to run and to work, to get back. What if I can help this out? And as Mike Anderson drops the shoulder to try to get on the preferred right foot in that moment, Sissoko was there to clean it all up. It's a really important play. It doesn't show up on a stat sheet anywhere.
Ederson. 12 green sheets in the English Premier League campaign last season. Scattered pass from the near side. Celtic looking to prevail. It's been an interesting few days for Pep Guardiola, both on and off the field. Speculation surrounding 2 of his star names. Kevin De Bruyne, who's linked with a high-profile move to the Saudi Pro League, Al Ittihad, at allegedly agreed terms, but Pep Guardiola suggesting that he's not going anywhere, Kevin De Bruyne. He will join the tour in several days' time, we're told. Now, Manchester City with defence on their mindsets. Palmer. Palmer charged down, but Celtic continue to press. Free kick in favour of Pep Guardiola's side.
Luis Palma is so tricky when he gets inside the 18-yard box, understanding that defenders have to be on the back foot and be patient when they confront the 1v1. That was well read by Sissoko to be able to make the timely intervention. I think Sissoko has really shown himself well. He's been versatile since he's come on at the halftime interval. He's shown really well for himself. I think even if City were able to come back and grab 2 more goals to walk out a winner tonight, I still think Pep Guardiola will be disappointed with his team's lack of energy at times and their inability to keep the ball in dangerous spots. It was only patches and spells really where they were influential. The territory battle of the field, it's not enough by the standard. It's dropped too much with the big names not in the lineup yet, having returned from the European Championships. I just think City right now they've got several players out there with 8 minutes plus some stoppage time to really go and impress in some individual 1v1 battles, but staying within the structure that City like to possess and withhold.
Anderson, and Celtic now looking for another goal. Comes towards the cusp. Now then, the referee Ted Uncle says no. It does blow the whistle in favour of Manchester City, which is greeted to a chorus of boos.
Real time, I think Ted Uncle gets this correct. It's a moment in which there is a collision. There is just enough contact on the ball for my money. I think that's just fine. That's properly defended by Katongo in the end. Using his big frame and his range, the 19-year-old academy product, to be able to just understand how to step right into the path and make sure he gets enough of the ball to not concede a penalty.
Katongo will have been used to physicality and the needs of English football last season. Last year on loan with Peterborough United in the third tier of English football, and now again Manchester City have themselves a free kick. And a card given out to Gustav Lagerbielke, the Swedish international.
Lagerbielke understands he's just taking a shot at the back of Hamilton. No interest in actually winning the ball. Plenty of interest in taking a yellow card with no consequences. If he can remain the remaining 6 minutes with stoppage time without picking up a secondary yellow.
Edison's finest moment. It would be the huge sigh of relief that he was able to smother at the second time of asking.
Yellow card issued to Celtic from Gustav Lagerbielke.
Here is Edison. Success since joining Manchester City from Benfica in 2017. And we do have to stop the play temporarily because we do have a pitch invader. And very quickly departs the field and makes their way back into the stands. Can't imagine they'll be allowed to remain in the stadium. Nevertheless, ball now back into the path of Sinisalo for Celtic. And he's the Finland international goalkeeper. Lagerbielke. Ball got a toe to it. Here comes Celtic again through Palmer. Bodies pile forwards. Lovely ball across goal, and in truth it deserved a better finish.
The complaint about Mikey Johnston is his inability to be efficient when he's in and around the box, and Luis Palma plays such a teasing ball with the outside of the right, so it freezes Ederson to the spot. Well, the trailing center back's momentum is taking him to goal, so Mikey Johnston needs to be able to put this on target. By the time he realizes just how good of an opportunity it was, the moment has passed. It's the one thing that he needs to continue to evolve in his maturation. The 25-year-old needs to be more dangerous in front of goal, find more consistency in hitting the target.
There's an element of worry amongst the Celtic fans when Mikey Johnston played as a centre forward against DC United for a portion of the game. He did score against DC United several days ago, scored 7 times for West Bromwich Albion in the English Championship in a loan spell last season. Identified as a pure goal scorer. Celtic now with defence on their mindset. The game goes from one end to another. Soho fighting ball across, and the recipients in blue inside the penalty area. Only unable to pick out the pass. free kick for Manchester City.
To reach the final 3 minutes or so, Oscar Bob still on the field. I think he's been far more effective in the second half when he's tucked in more centrally. It was jettisoned out wide and really didn't look as though in the first half he had any real vigor to try to go in those 1v1 moments. The more he's come into the middle of the park, the more he's been involved, the more impactful he's been. So he'll go the full 90 minutes for Pep Guardiola, and that's a good sign of where Oscar Bob sits, maybe in the pecking order. He wants to make sure that he can get as fit as possible. Maybe we'll see a little bit more throughout the course of this Premier League season from Oscar Bob.
Challenge too aggressive for the referee's liking. Anderson, one of the key components in that victory against DC United several days ago. And Rodgers full of praise for the youngster. Ball forwards. Hamilton, who is offside. The under-20 international from Manchester. First-team appearances, scored on his senior debut in the UEFA Champions League in a 3-2 win at Red Star Belgrade last season. Stu on the near side does present an opening now for Manchester City. They'll find a way through again. Bidoni. Bidoni running into danger. Celtic eager to take advantage. Manchester City remaining calm under pressure. Here's Doyle. Free kick. Forrest has been such a loyal servant to Celtic over the years. A player who scored in the game against DC United several days ago. Over 400 appearances in all competitions for his boyhood club. To stop the game again here for a second, because as you can see there is another pitch invader. There's now a handful making their way onto the field. 1 minute of added time. 1 minute for Celtic to hold on, or for Manchester City to find something. All the way back to Jami Sinisalo. Pushed through and in the end into the grasp of Ederson. It's been a good workout for Manchester City in the first day of pre-season, but victory confirmed for Celtic by 4 goals to 3. What a thrill we've witnessed here, Jamie Watson.
Tremendous performance from Celtic. I thought they were very sharp going forward. City looked as though it was their first match, disjointed. They'll need to correct that along this tour.
So no doubt Brendan Rodgers will be delighted as his Celtic side move closer to the season. Chelsea up next for them in Notre Dame, AC Milan next for Manchester City as the tour continues. Celtic victorious by 4 goals to 3 as we send it back to the studio.